As the sun finally appears over Houston, there is another danger, some of it too small to see, lurking in all of that flooding. Eddie Randall tracks down a scientist to talk water.
At certain times of the year, like if it's really cold, there tends not to be as much E. coli here.
John Novick tests this area of Cherry Creek every single week.
This sample, we'll put a syringe tip filter on it.
He says when it's warm, E. coli levels can be anywhere from 300 to 700. When you get a storm,
those numbers could be up as high as 10,000.
That's just for an average storm. When talking about something as powerful as a tropical storm or hurricane, things get a little more serious.
People who are walking in that water are potentially being exposed to some stuff that can really make them ill.
But based on some of the images we've seen, we know for some, being in floodwaters, it's not by choice.
Your first concern is getting to safety, but if you're just walking around in it, you can get infections if you have cuts or sores that are open.
It's also nearly impossible to ignore the smell floodwaters bring.
Wastewater treatment plants, they start to spill, and so you have raw sewage, and that's probably some of what you're smelling.
Coloradans experienced massive flooding back in 2013, and Novick says the first floods were the worst.
A lot of sediment, higher levels of bacteria, some elevated levels of heavy metals.
Still, that was just a fraction of what people in the South are dealing with now.
Rather than just being limited flooding, it's the whole, the whole city is flooded.
For Next, I'm Eddie Randall.
Next question comes from a viewer named Stacy Scattergood. Hey, Next. My friend in Texas and I would like to know how much snow Colorado would be getting in place of Texas's 50 inches of rain. So that's going to require some math, Stacy, and possibly a meteorology degree. So it's good we have some people who know all about this stuff. We asked meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen to answer this for you.
Well, that would be one epic snowstorm. We usually get 10 to 30 times more snow from a storm than we get rain. And Colorado is pretty far from an ocean, so water vapor doesn't get transported here in large doses. But for fun, let's say we did get a storm with 50 inches of water available. If the snow-to-water ratio in Denver was 15 to 1, then we would get a 750-inch snowstorm, or 62.5 feet. The air in the mountains is even colder. We can get ratios near 30 to 1, which would be a 1,500-inch snowstorm or 125 feet. The biggest snowstorm we've ever had was 86 inches in Georgetown back in 1913. Loveland Ski Area gets some of the most snow in the state, and they average about 422 inches for a whole season.
Corey really knows his stuff. Another way to put this into perspective, take Niagara Falls. 750,000 gallons of water pour over the falls there every single second. Corey estimates that about 7 trillion gallons fell in the Houston area so far. So it would take 107 days for all of that water to flow over Niagara Falls. That's amazing. I'm going to make a recommendation. This is where we point you to something, anything that isn't ours, but is worth your time. This morning, I was on Twitter when this photo popped up on my feed. It's from a Houston Chronicle staff photographer. He says, maybe the best sunset Houston has ever seen or needed. After a deluge of rain, we can only imagine how it feels to see the sun again in Texas. The Houston Chronicle has been doing a fantastic job of documenting Hurricane Harvey. We have a link to their photos and coverage on our Facebook page. Tonight, a story about a man who believes in what our country has to offer. He's an Iraqi who was tortured in his home country. Disabled permanently, he managed to escape. From a nightmare, he's now taking a shot at the American dream. And all he wants to get started is a simple machine. Our visual producer, Cody Broadway, brings us this story of a man named Moo.
He's saying that during the 45 days, they were giving him pills. They were giving everyone pills. They beated him actually on his head like heavy beats, and also accused to violent actions.
I just can't even imagine going through something like that, and yeah.
كانت الطريقة وشو صار يعني تعطيه شوية تفاصيل.
After he started working for Americans over there, they started telling him that he is an ally for Americans, and he accepts all their actions. I don't want to get like money, illegal money, like killing people and going into these things. And then he got kidnapped, and his sister was assassinated while she was with him. They found out that she was killed and thrown in one of the rivers over there. So yeah, this is his story.
You know, being born and raised here, I've never witnessed or barely heard of, and it's just crazy to know that that's going on in the world. So I think that a lot of people in the United States are blind to that for sure.
Of course, it's an inspiration to me because he was a champion in his country. He should have been more appreciated in his country, but he didn't find a shoulder to cry on, and he didn't find the people to embrace him in his country. But he found that in the United States, which I consider now my home. The United States of America. شو بتعني لك أمريكا هلا؟ شو يعني? He felt home from the very beginning, and everyone was helping him, and he got a professional medication support and care, and he got like everyone smiling for him and everyone offering him help. This country is his home country for him and for his family and his sons. The sewing machine at this moment is a relief, because he considers it as a source of income, and he hopes that they can generate income from it and sustain and raise his kids.
Had to unwrap it.
With all of the current events, it's really easy to say, you know, man, I can't believe this stuff is happening in our country. And while that's perfectly true, and you know, these things shouldn't be happening in our country, there are absolutely unthinkable things, even worse than that, happening outside of our country.
America is always great. There's no need to make it great again.
Moo was gifted that sewing machine last week. He plans to make clothes to sell to make more money to support his family. It didn't take long for a story you saw here last night to spread. A World War II dog tag found by two teens working at a car wash. A couple of hours after the story aired, we got a phone call into the newsroom. The right phone call. Here's Steve Steger, who helped make this connection.
Right? And Poppy had a daddy too.
There was a rather impromptu family history lesson at the Graves household this afternoon.
This is Poppy's daddy.
Poppy's daddy is Michael Mercurio.
My grandpa is a wonderful man.
A wonderful man who served his country in World War II.
I don't know a whole lot because he didn't really talk much about it.
It's too late to ask him about it. Michael Mercurio passed away in 2004.
He's very special to me. I love him very much, and I miss him.
And ever since then, Marianne Mercurio Graves has carried his dog tag in her wallet. That is, until this weekend.
It was in my little zipper parts, and it inadvertently fell out of my wallet.
And into the car.
And my husband went to go clean the van, and he didn't realize it and sucked it up.
She had no idea it was gone until relatives started calling to tell her the dog tag was on the news.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Colin Baker and Matthew Hill found it while cleaning out the vacuums at work.
It is. Yay.
A piece of family history back where it belongs.
I'm forever grateful. They went a step above.
For Next, I'm Steve Steger.
It's not news, it's just an awesome part of life. A little boy's excitement after a dinosaur skull is found in the Denver area.
Oh, he was immediately ready to go up, Dick.
One of these spots is for sale for $190,000. The other is inside the 9 News parking garage. Take a guess. Next.
Those fans are the greatest in the world. They show that every single week.
It's like a Thunderdome. Getting into that stadium, it's just so loud.
Some of the energy you can feel no other place in the world.
Every time you're at Mile High, it's just the best time you'll ever have.
A huge rush all the time.
Like you feed off each other's energy.
Nobody can compete with us.
Broncos Cardinals, Thursday on Channel 20.
There's just a certain camaraderie that you don't get very often.
Everywhere. When we talk about everywhere, we're really talking about you. You're everywhere. You're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You're getting text alerts, emails, app notifications. So why do you need us? Well, whether you realize it or not, you have an entire team of journalists working all day just for you. When we see those alerts, those bits of information, we have the same questions you do. The difference is we can send that team to get to the bottom of the story. It's our passion to get answers and our privilege to share them with you.
I do love taking care of you.
I live it too, Mom.
Probably should have done it when you were a kid.
That'd have been nice.
Get out. You're walking home.
The house is right there.
Okay, stay in. I'm going to drive you further away.
Would you like to know the sex?
I think it's pretty obvious. It's a boy, and he's going to be very popular with the ladies.
Coming this fall to Channel 20.
If you've been wronged, 9 wants to know. If you've seen wrong, blow the whistle. Send your news tips and story ideas to blowthewhistle@9news.com.
Welcome back. Meteorologist Kathy Sabin here. A little bit hazy outside, ozone kind of high today. Air quality not the best, but winds out of the south increasing, and that may create some mixing and a better air quality scenario for Thursday. Our high at 92 is above the average of 85 and not quite in record territory. We're tracking some thunderstorms. They're coming off the foothills, tracking toward the south-southeast with a bit of wind and lightning. Of course, all eyes on Tropical Storm Harvey, now inland, forecast to move northeast, taking the heavy rain threat east of Houston and Beaumont tonight. Isolated tornadoes in that part of the country, an issue for the next 48 hours. But for Colorado, high pressure is going to bend only slightly, allowing in a bit more moisture tomorrow. 20% chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon after a mostly sunny start. Severe weather threat remains low tonight and tomorrow, and storms may actually drop a little bit of rain west and south of the city heading into Thursday afternoon. Tonight, it's dry and windy and mild. Our low at 60, which is where we start at 6:30 tomorrow morning. Temperatures just below 90 tomorrow, and then a nice warming trend heading into the holiday weekend. Decent travel weather, and our next chance for measurable precipitation will be with a round of storms on Tuesday. And how great is this shot, Jeremy?
That's an awesome shot. Only in Colorado can you get a shot like that.
That's right.
One day, a long time ago, a Triceratops was walking around here in the Denver area. It died like all dinosaurs did. 66 million years later, to this past Friday, its skull was found. This is not a news story, but rather how a story can get people curious, even little ones. Here's Ann Herbst, who found a budding scientist ready to dig.
There's a lot of clickbait for sure.
Stephanie McKechnie doesn't believe everything she sees on Twitter.
It's real news, which is really fantastic.
But a tweet she read yesterday from one of her favorite 9 News reporters
found this Triceratops skeleton
was very real.
That Anastasia Bolton had.
Stephanie immediately told her 4-year-old son Killian,
"What is that stuff?"
That construction workers in Thornton found a Triceratops skull and skeleton.
Huge fossil.
What is that, though?
It led to a trip to the library.
Squid.
Stephanie knew what was coming next.
Oh, he was immediately ready to go out dig.
Another
Discovering is his word of the week, I think. He's been using it quite a bit.
Wait, do worms need shade?
They do. Yes.
Killian hasn't made any scientific discoveries in his backyard yet.
It came from the moon, I think.
You think it came from the moon? And there's nothing better than seeing your kid get excited about something.
Ew.
Do you know what those are?
He might not be quite ready.
You think you'll be a paleontologist?
To pick a job.
You're gonna study dinosaurs and fossils?
But a little piece of real news.
Oh yeah, it's like a baby earthworm.
Sparked real interest in a 4-year-old.
We want to look for something else.
As much as I don't want my yard dug up, it's worth it. It really is.
Ah!
What?
I thought there was a scorpion on me.
You thought there was a scorpion?
For next, this is Ann Herbst.
Oh, that kid is awesome. The Triceratops fossil that 4-year-old Killian was so excited about is only one of 3 that have been found on the Front Range. So go find more, Killian. Go find more. We told you about that parking spot going for $59 grand in Denver last night. Vail said we can top that. How about this one? 3 times that amount. And we're spending some time talking about a big fundraiser for those affected by Hurricane Harvey because, you know, it's important. That's next. Okay, confession, I can't stop talking about this in the newsroom. Apparently, there's this whole market for parking spots. I got really excited when we heard about this parking spot in downtown Denver for sale. Yes, a parking spot listed for $59,000. I heard from some real estate agents. One guy named Jay wrote, "Jeremy, seriously, get a grip," adding that this has been going on at this location for 20 years. Another real estate agent named Chad Ziegler out of Vail had a mind-blowing email. He's currently selling this parking spot in Vail for $190,000. So what do you get with that? A reserved parking sign, a nice flat surface. I don't know though, the neighbor's oil stand over there might have an impact on property value over time. Chad claims he sold parking spots in Vail for more than $300,000. I don't know why. This is amazing, and I just can't contain myself over this. The average wage in our state is just above $60,000, so you gotta wonder, what does this say about property in parts of Colorado? On to the next story. It's easy to like something on Facebook to show your support, but I know it's hard to get that wallet out and put your money where your like finger is. There's been a telethon going on since 6 o'clock this morning to raise cash for people caught up in the chaos of Hurricane Harvey. All the money we are raising is going to the American Red Cross. 9 News reporter Anastasia Bolton has been at the telethon all day. Anastasia, there are only about 40 minutes left to donate. People better hurry.
I know, and Jeremy, right now the latest estimate is $325,000. So we're starting this kind of a wide shot to show you this is a cubicle farm, and if you sort of look inside the cubicles, you will see 2 or 3 people per cubicle answering the phone and raising money and getting money from the generous Coloradans who are calling in and donating, and the corporate sponsors here are matching those donations. So you have 40 more minutes to call in and help folks in Houston. We've gotten lots of questions on social media. Will this money actually go to Harvey? Well, the Red Cross says if you designate your money to Harvey victims, that is where the money will go. This afternoon's estimate was 32,000 people were in shelters in the Texas area. That number is certainly expected to rise as more and more rescues were witnessed by you guys on television and social media, however you've been following this natural disaster. So we have information for you on how to call and how to text and donate. Even every little bit helps. $2, buy somebody a snack. So $10, that's not a lot, but that is a ton for someone who is surviving something like Harvey. Jeremy?
Anastasia, thanks a lot. Please donate. So, it's a sign from a familiar face, a name you might recognize. We thought we'd mention this person today, and your feedback. That's next. most Colorado thing we saw today comes from viewer Cody Peters using the hashtag #HeyNext. These deer think they're Broncos. This photo snapped right in the Denver area, a football field right behind Wheat Ridge High School. And that's the most Colorado thing we saw today. Got an idea for another one? Let us know online. And it's a sign spotted by some guy named Kyle Clark. Wait, we know that guy. He's on vacation and tweeted out this hand-washing photo, a jab at government regulations. The government in Tallahassee insists that we post this stupid and insulting sign. It goes on to say, we suspect that our government in Tallahassee should wash their hands more. Leave it to Kyle to find something like that. Awesome. And now let's get to a piece of viewer feedback. I love the informality of Next. You have my permission, and I bet Kyle's too, to lose the tie and unbutton one. Thanks, Simon. If there's a next time, I promise you, I'll try that. If there's a next time. See ya.